Hi, I'm Greg McIntyre, and we're going to talk about a topic that is near and dear to my heart and that I love to do. I know you do too, Brenton. I'm joined by my law partner, Brenton Begley, and we're going to talk about family businesses, estate planning for family businesses. Our topics we're going to cover are LLCs and trust, business succession, and what if the children do not want to run the business after you're gone? Can it provide a stream of income? Can it be sold? Can there be other plans in place and other strategies? The answer is yes. And Brenton, we help people all the time, and we can really help. I love to help people do estate planning who have family businesses. Might be real estate. What are some other types of family businesses you've seen that we plan for?
Oh man, they run the gambit. You know, they really do. Gambit. They run the gambit. So
yeah. Gambit is.
Yeah. It's also an X-Men character. One of my favorites.
Yeah.
So they run the gamut from farming operations to, accounting firms, law firms, by the way, which you have to be a licensed attorney to do, and really can't do much accounting if you're not a CPA or have, some background in accounting. So professional firms, family restaurants, boutiques, any type of business that you can think of that's not publicly traded could be what we refer to as a family business. And businesses are these things that they could be a side hustle that provides some type of income. They could be a legacy thing that's been handed down over the generations, or they could be that thing that the family depends on entirely for their income and, for their ability to live, right? So their livelihood. So what we want to focus on is making sure that those things pass in a smooth way. And there's many ways to do that, but first we have to understand that if someone owns an interest in a business, let's say someone owns a business entirely and they die, then what typically happens by default is that business interest goes through a probate process, which can take anywhere from 6 months to 2 years to go through that process, and can be tied up in the legal system before that business can be handed down to the next generation. And we want to avoid that danger. So to kind of give an overall reason why we're talking about this and why estate planning is important for businesses, that's one of the things that we're looking at. Also, just knowing what's going to happen. One of the important things about a business that you'll find is projecting, what may happen in the future, whether that's financially or operationally. And so you need to know what may happen if a business owner dies. That's why this conversation is important, and it applies to all sorts of types of business.
Sure. So, some of the ways that we set up estate plans with businesses are using tools like LLCs, sometimes LLCs combined with trust. So a trust that actually organizes the LLC and the trustee runs the business through the trust. And everything is still passed through taxation. However, we could allow you to actually shift to an irrevocable trust and protect that business, the asset, in case of a long-term care situation. That can be extremely important as well. So trusts give you a lot of flexibility there, using revocable, convertible, or irrevocable trust, depending on your situation and what the future might hold, to make sure, and what your asset level is, to make sure that you're protected from liability, as well as any type of impending long-term care situation that you can qualify for long-term care benefits, but still keep the business. And that would be extremely important, so that the income could still flow to you from the business. And so you could divert that income to another beneficiary, maybe a child or the child that helps you run the business. And all that is allowable inside of the trust with the income coming out. So trusts are very flexible in allowing you to do that. And depending on the makeup of your business, I love to do what I say is a Russian nesting doll strategy. So one doll inside of the other, with LLCs inside of trust, especially if there's real estate involved and they're holding real estate. But it doesn't have to be just real estate. And I have clients who will take 5 residential rental houses and put them in an LLC. And then on the sixth one, they'll start a new LLC. Or they might have one larger apartment complex inside of an LLC, all of which will be housed and controlled within the trust by the trustee, which is them. It might be a convertible trust, so they can convert it to irrevocable and then shield all those assets in case of a long-term care issue and count them as separate assets, opening them up for qualification for a benefit like long-term care Medicaid to pay for nursing home care. And inside of that trust, Brent, we can also say what happens to the interest in the business once they pass away, because trusts have beneficiaries. And we can say exactly what the trustee is to do with those LLC business interests when the person passes away. So it gives us a lot of flexibility, dead hand control well beyond the grave there. You mentioned, Brenton, before we started, because we were talking about the different options: sell, partner, keep running the business to provide an income stream to the children. Can you elaborate on that and how that might work after someone passes away?
Yeah. So the cool thing about a trust is, you mentioned a lot about, protection and how assets can be protected within the trust during the life of the person who makes the trust or who owns the business. But another cool feature of the trust is that anything that's in that trust will avoid probate, automatically pass to the beneficiaries. And it can do so in a way, as you alluded to, where the person who made the trust still has control over how that business is run, how the assets of the business are used, how the income of the business is diverted. So one thing that you could do if you're planning, and let's say you know that one of your children is gonna absolutely be able to run the business, they have the aptitude, they have the desire, and you want them to be your successor in running the business, you could have them run that business. You could say in the trust that I want maybe the income to be provided to my spouse, a certain amount of the income, but I want this child to run the business and earn a good salary as well. Maybe you consolidate some of the shares in that individual immediately upon your death and leave some in the trust so that they do have voting power. They can make decisions with regard to the company, but maybe not all the decisions yet. Maybe you want to still have the trust have some control, and whoever your trustee is have that control. You could have a situation where, you have a child that you want to have, your assets. You want them to have this benefit that you've worked hard and created this business. You want them to benefit from it. Maybe they're not interested in running it. Maybe they don't have the aptitude to do it. Maybe they're a special needs individual and just can't. And in those situations, they can still benefit from the business. You could, in fact, pick somebody to run the business, earn a salary, and your loved one earn an income stream from that business. And if they're a special needs individual, cool thing about the trust, another one is that, that income stream could go into a special needs trust for that individual, where they can still get a benefit like, a means tested government benefit like Medicaid or SSI, and still get the income stream from that business without it disrupting their ability to get that benefit.
Very true. That's awesome. And then business succession, we can have operating agreements with LLCs that also trigger upon the death of a partner, for example, insurance policies to buy out that person's percentage in the business, so that you're not in partnership with someone's spouse or someone that you don't want to be in partnership with. Those things can be important to set up ahead of time to ensure the smooth running of the business, no matter if something happens to one of the partners or not, and also ensure that not only the business, but the spouses are taken care of as well. So business succession planning is something that can be done. Those things can be done in combination. All these things can be done as part of a comprehensive strategy as well, and different events triggered at different points depending on what happens. I've got 6 kids. I don't know if any of them will ever be disabled. I hope not, but I'm not privy to that information when that might happen. So I might want to have a plan set up, business succession planning, really include my trust in that, and then provide for a special needs subtrust, supplemental needs subtrust within my trust to receive benefits if one of my heirs, my children, becomes disabled later. So that is phenomenal, Brenton. And I think truster and business, along with business succession planning, is a great comprehensive overall plan. What if the children don't want to run the business though? What if they say, mom, dad, you guys, blood, sweat, tears, worked your whole life to accumulate these things. We have no interest in doing it because I want to go be a fashion designer in Paris.
Right. Yeah. So, I would say that there are 3 ways that you can really go about doing that I've seen and that we've routinely set up whenever a child doesn't want to run the business, be a part of the business. One, you can say, hey, go live your dream. This business is going to be held in a trust. So it's held in an LLC, right, which protects the assets from your personal liability. And then that LLC is held in a trust that can control what happens when you die. So if I die, this passes along to my child. If they want to go be a fashion designer and go live your dream, I'm going to give you an income stream and I'll have someone else run the business, be the trustee of that trust and coordinate that. Trustee will get paid. You'll get paid as far as an income stream to you to help fund your dream. So that's option number 1. Option number 2 is, hey, you have the ability to sell the business after you pass away. You could say, hey, if my child doesn't want to run this, maybe I shouldn't keep this business, right? And this is not appropriate for everybody. Some people want that legacy to go on beyond them, even if it's not their child running it. But for some people, they don't have that desire. So you can say, hey, I built up this business has assets, it has goodwill, it has a good name. I'm going to have this sold, liquidated, and that money go to my child, or maybe be held in trust for my child where they still get an income stream off of it. And then option number 3 is, if you really want to incentivize a child to do what you think is the right thing for them, you could say, hey, this business is going to run, and it's going to run without you. And by the way, I'm not going to give you any interest in the business or benefit from the business unless you're a part of it, because this is my legacy that I want you to be a part of. If you're going to live a life where you're not contributing to the family legacy, or maybe your own legacy or the potential I see within you as my child, then you don't get the benefit from the business that I worked hard, blood, sweat, and tears to build and leave behind for you. So those are the 3 options that I see. The last one, it seems a little bit more, I guess you could say strict or brutal, in kind of the approach, but it's a good incentive. And part of estate planning and doing a comprehensive estate plan for the future is to provide incentives for children or beneficiaries to act a certain way, right? We do this all the time. Like, we provide money for education for children after, a loved one passes away. That's to incentivize them to go seek further education so they actually make something of their lives. So, while it may seem like something
to your point, I love that you don't pay them money to stay at home and not go to college.
Right. Exactly.
That's not the prevailing wisdom, right? You don't incentivize them to go play video games and just stay at home until they're 45 years old, right?
Yeah.
You might want to incentivize them to go to college. Or I love your incentive. Some things that you said may seem strict and brutal up front also lay a path of opportunity that lays out what someone can do when they're ready to grab that ring, come in and run that business, right? When they're ready. So I agree.
And maybe they're not ready yet. Maybe they need to go through some stuff,
Yeah,
maybe they need to learn, right? Maybe they're just in a position in their lives where it's just not quite time. They don't know, they don't have the understanding, the experience. And then, when the time comes, they can fulfill that role.
These are the notes that I wrote down prior to us starting this. I'm ready to toss them because we killed that list. Okay. There's so many, that and many other variables and options in between are the way that we sit down with business owners and do planning to protect your business during your life and pass it after you're gone, and include family members or motivate family members or protect the business or many, many other options. I love doing it.
And I think too, is like, I feel like we're especially positioned to do this sort of thing because, we happen to also run a business and have a lot of passion in what we do and plan for the future. And, we're doing our own business planning every day, on a weekly basis, and feeling the friction, feeling the experience, the journey of running a business and thinking about what's going to happen not only the next day, but in the future. And so being able to have that conversation with a client and do that planning is one of the most fulfilling parts of the job.
And I think we're uniquely positioned to help people avoid friction as much as possible. You want a healthy amount of friction, but not we know where those points are. Yeah, exactly. I mean, those are things that you and I both get better at every day, no doubt. And we both care about what we do. So I appreciate you, Brenton, and working with our business owners. And if you would like to sit down with Brenton or myself or one of our attorneys and talk about protecting your business and leaving a legacy, give us a call. I would offer a free consult, 1-888-999-6600, or you can schedule online and read a lot of great content about what we do at mcelderlaw.com. That's mcelderlaw.com. Thank you.
Thanks.